Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan.
So a couple of weeks ago, it came out, and I did a video about this, and I may have been wrong, but I did a video about this, and I talked about how Joe Rogan went over to Spotify and apparently got censored. All of his Alex Jones interviews came down. All of his like kind of controversial conspiracy theory, right-wing interviews came in. This is not an endorsement of Alex Jones. This is not an endorsement of that content. I'm really not much of a conspiracy theorist, if I'm honest with you guys. But all this stuff didn't go onto the new Spotify platform, which, by the way, Spotify gave him $100 million and created a video backend so all of his podcasts can go on there, except some of the more controversial ones, except like Jordan Peterson's daughter talking about the carnivore diet, Alex Jones with his conspiracy theories, Eddie Bravo. So Joe Rogan gets $100 million. Podcast goes up, bunch of episodes missing. We start all assuming, hey, he's gotten censored. He went and took the bag. He got censored. Then Alex Jones came out with this clip. I'm going to play it to you. I don't like to play too many clips. I'm not going to play too much of it, but I'm going to play it to you. And this is what Alex Jones said about Joe Rogan's deal at Spotify and why he did it. Not an endorsement of Alex Jones, okay? So don't, I think he's been wrong about a lot of stuff, and I think he's been right a good amount of times too. So this is not an endorsement of him, but I just want us to check this out because this is interesting. I got another verse for you, okay? Check this out.
Listen, I love America.
Alex Jones, this is what Joe Rogan told him about why he went to Spotify and left YouTube. Check this out.
I love freedom. He said the things they've done, the things they've told me, the way they've talked to us like we're dogs is so un-American. It's not about me. It's about I'd rather die than do this. He goes, I don't care if I get shut off everywhere. He goes, I'm going to war.
Woo! What?
In September. And he said, I want you first guest out of the gate and then Elon Musk next. And if they think they've been attacked so far, get ready. And because I know Joe, he knows as much or more. I mean, it's scary.
So Joe Rogan says, out of his patriotism, his love for America, he's so tired of getting demonetized by YouTube. This video may or may not get demonetized by YouTube, which is why you should hit the like, subscribe, notification. Again, consider joining our Patreon. But he says he loves America, he loves the truth, all these things so much that he's willing to go to war with YouTube. That's why he took the deal with Spotify. Alex Jones goes on to say he was making $50 million a year already. He didn't need the money. He didn't care about the money. He literally went over there so that he could go to war with YouTube. This is according to Alex Jones. It's according to Alex Jones. Take that with a grain of salt. I'm going to play a little bit more of this clip.
You're about to see a calculated Alex Jones. And he said, I don't care what happens. It's for my kids. These people, because he has the inside metrics. He goes, Elon Musk, 100 plus million views. They shadow ban it. They block it. They claim it's 10 million views. Same thing.
Shadow banning is when people go on YouTube and they search for something and YouTube doesn't pull it up. I did a reaction to the Out of the Shadows documentary, conspiracy theory documentary, and people can't find the documentary, so they find my video, and my video is actually doing really well because of YouTube shadow banning the documentary. So this happens fairly frequently. It's a degree of censorship. So he's saying Joe Rogan intentionally did that to go away from Spotify because he wants to, I guess, wage war on YouTube. Again, this is Alex Jones, so like I'm taking it with a grain of salt.
Dang, that's the new interview. And so all of this and these tech dictators, I told Joe a few years ago, I said, I'm coming after you because I know you know all this as much as I do or more.
He's coming after him because Alex Jones didn't like getting deplatformed by YouTube and all the platforms.
No, you're just as tough as I am, maybe tougher, probably tougher. And you're letting these people piss on you? I said, I demand you attack them. And Joe's like, oh, they're not that bad. And once he finally saw them, here was the camel. Here was the straw that broke the camel's back.
So that clip is out there. It probably gets taken down. I wanted to play you guys a clip. He said the camel that broke that really set it off for him. I don't know the daggone phrase, but the phrase is, sorry, forgive me, was when he wanted to start having doctors come on and talk about the coronavirus. And YouTube was like, can't do that. Joe Rogan was like, what do you mean I can't do that? It's my podcast. They're like, nope, can't do that. That's why he took the deal with Spotify. Supposedly he has 100% control. Apparently some of those other episodes will eventually get added to Spotify, according to Alex Jones. Joe Rogan hasn't spoken on this publicly. Very interesting. All of this is really interesting. Alex Jones is a wild guy. You're correct there, No Face Rapper. Shout out to you for watching this live. Very interesting. Now, I'm going to read you guys another verse. And I'm just a dude. I love Proverbs. This verse is not an endorsement of any of these guys' spirituality. Okay, so there's going to be a word in here. I'm not endorsing their spirituality. I'm not saying they know Jesus or they don't. That's not what I'm talking about. This isn't faithful. This is just a verse I want you guys to read. Okay, check this out. It says, better a little with righteousness than much gain with injustice. Better a little with righteousness. What is righteousness? Righteousness in a spiritual sense, righteousness is right standing with God. Right? Righteousness is right standing with God. It's being in the right. Better a little with righteousness than much gain with injustice. Better is a little bit than a lot without having your integrity, without being just, without being congruent. Better is a little bit, right? And a lot of us, we see these people being successful. And again, this is not a endorsement of anybody's salvation, but what it sounds like is that Rogan had a sense of righteous indignation. Not a spiritual, I'm not saying he knows Jesus, but a sense of righteous indignation, and said, you know what? I don't care about the money, right? Because remember, he went over there, he got 100 million. Spotify's stock went up, and they made $1 billion off of him. This happened. So this is 10%. This is all right. So better a little with righteousness than much gain. Guys, keep your integrity. Stick to your values. Stand on your convictions. Regardless on the opportunities presented to you, regardless on if they sound too good, regardless on what's coming after you, regardless on what you may think you need to be successful. A lot of us artists, we think we need this. We think we need, if I could just get a manager, if I could just get this blog to cover me, if I could just get a booking agent, right? Listen, better is a little with righteousness. Better is a little with right standing, with integrity, with not compromising, than much gain with injustice, than much gain with cutting corners, with unethical business practices, with compromising who you really are, right? And Joe Rogan, apparently, according to Alex Jones, this is me going off of Alex Jones, this is not an endorsement of anybody's faith or worldview, apparently was like, you know what, I'm not playing this game with y'all. I'm not playing this game. I'm going to go over here. It's not really about the money, though the money's nice, which is apparently why he moved over to Texas, right, to save the income tax. Boom, moves over and is like, yo, I'm going to get the bag, but it's not really about the bag. It's about the creative freedom. I'm tired of YouTube demonetizing me. I'm tired of them telling me what I can and can't say. I'm tired of the shenanigans. Remember, when you're at Joe Rogan level, you got 5 million, 10 million subscribers. You talk to the folks at YouTube directly. I mean, I know people with a couple 100,000 subscribers. They talk to the folks at YouTube directly. YouTube starts checking on you, reaching out, kind of, hey, come be a part of this thing, right? They're in the know. They know what's going on. And YouTube is also a private company, but YouTube and Twitter and all these places, they have their own agenda. They have their own things that they're trying to accomplish. So again, back to my previous point, a lot of you guys are like, oh, it's capitalism. Capitalism's bad. Oh, capitalism. Listen, if you don't want to use the word capitalism, don't use the word capitalism. Let's just say ethical wealth building. Figure out how to finesse the system so that you can build wealth ethically. Figure out what you can do to seize the opportunity that's in front of you. Ephesians talks about ceasing the day. Figure out what you need to do with what God deposited in you for this season, right? And do it ethically. And know that it's going to take time. It's going to take time. You guys maybe just recently discovering me. Listen, I was doing music for over 10 years before I quit my job and went full time. Over 10 years before I went my job full time. I've been doing this YouTube page since 2016. I've been consistently uploading for the past 2 years. I launched my Patreon 2 years ago. I just got to the point where I have multiple revenue streams now. I got sync licensing, I got merchandise, I got music, Spotify, DistroKid. I just got to the point where I built the my revenue from YouTube and Patreon where that can sustain me and my family. It took me 2 years though. If y'all been following, the past, COVID, 3-4 months, I've been uploading 4 or 5 videos a day. Sometimes more, sometimes less, right? Guys, this stuff takes time. This stuff takes time. It's not an overnight process. So many of us want that popcorn, them popcorn results. We're so used to convenience and fast food and fast this and dopamine levels spiking. I just want it right now. I just want to get it right now. It's not going to come to you right now. You got to make decisions today that'll set up for your tomorrows and your next years and your next decades, right? So dig deep, like figure out what those things are. Figure out what working your land looks like. Figure out what working your land looks like. Figure out the things that you're passionate about. Figure out the things that you care deeply about. Figure out the things that you're good at. What are you good at? What are you passionate about? What are some problems you could solve? What are some unique perspectives you have? Right? And a lot of times we could take these things, we could package them, and we can build businesses off them. We could be creative entrepreneurs off them. That's amazing. That's freaking dope, right? That's incredible. This couldn't happen to me 30 years ago. First of all, imagine COVID happening 30 years ago. Imagine the lockdown. Just think about that. No Netflix, no YouTube, like basic cable. You got like 20 channels. Like, yo, it would have been awful, right? But now look at all the opportunity that's here. And usually in times of crisis, is when people level up. Usually in times of crisis, when you really see who's who and who really got it and who really just chasing fantasies out here. You guys feel me?
Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan.